So you're still not convinced that you need a personal brand. And I get it. Like, you're probably hearing from so many people, whether it's your broker or from fellow colleagues or other real estate agents that you adore, that personal branding is just like the fluff part of marketing and that you actually don't really need it, but instead you need to do all of these other things. So let me try to change your mind here a little bit. Let's think about the fact that conversions happen after conversations. And this is true online, on social media, and this is also true offline. It takes some time to get to know some people, to have some conversations, to build that relationship for them to trust you. And yes, sometimes that can happen in a quick phone call. Other times it can take a couple weeks, a couple months, sometimes a couple years. If we are focused on having conversations, then let's look at the difference between agents who have a personal brand and agents who don't. So agents who don't have a personal brand are sharing things online that are like pretty basic, right? Like you have like your actual like real estate content, which usually means like kind of hiding behind some graphics. You're probably sharing like local events or things that are happening in your community. And then also a lot of agents are still sharing like some random family photos here and there, which I do love. Like I feel like that does give people a peek behind the curtain at who you are, and lets them get to know you a little bit more. But those pictures can kind of feel maybe a little bit random, or that they don't all go together as like one cohesive brand. You have like those three elements of your brand that you are portraying on like Instagram, Facebook, wherever. You're giving people a few opportunities to have conversations with you, right? But now let's look at agents who have a personal brand. So they talk about those three things, and they talk about those three things in a little bit of a different way. So they're showing more like behind the scenes of how they are helping their clients or how they would do things as an agent. They're sharing where they like to go in their local community, not just like a bland local events graphic. Then as they're sharing about their family or their friends, they're sharing it from the lens of a professional real estate agent in your town. Then they're also sharing the books that they're reading, their morning walk with their dog, their favorite morning beverage, like you name it, that's what they're sharing. And they are sharing it in a way that like invites more conversation. So you can see here on this chart that they're getting a lot more conversations started, right? Like there's a lot more opportunities for people to reach out to them, for them to say something to them, for them to build relationship with more and more people. Now here's where things get really interesting. When people use the Modern Agent content cocktail that we teach to our members, the personal branding really helps like explode their business because they're having so many conversations, okay? So the Modern Agent content cocktail that you see here is like 1 part real estate, 1 part local, garnished with personality. So in every piece of content that you're sharing, you're strategically adding these elements. You even give people more opportunities to connect with you. So when you talk about your newest listing, you're not just talking about the actual house, you're also talking about the community. And then when you are sharing about that, you're adding a splash of your own personality. So for example, if you are like an avid book reader and you're like totally obsessed, you could go through your listing video and talk about like how great the house is, but then you can also share like, guess what? It's only 3 blocks from the library. And then you could also be like, here's where I would be reading these books, or here's a book that would match the personality of like every room in the house, right? Like you can add that little splash, and that's what is so cool. Because think about this. If someone is looking at that listing video, they're not only seeing a cool house, but most of them that are watching that probably aren't in the market to buy. But what you're doing is you are like staying top of mind, and they're going to recall you and like build that connection with you, even if they don't love books, but you're going to stay top of mind. Do you see what I'm saying here? So like when you actually like are strategic with every piece of content that you're sharing, and when you use that content cocktail, your opportunities for conversations and conversions are like insane. Like I'm speechless, guys. They're totally insane. That's why we talk all about how important it is to have a personal brand. So if you are not convinced yet, hopefully this video helps you. And as always, you can always tune into the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast, and you can join Modern Agent Social Club, where we do all this heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is plug and play a few things, and it's much easier to show up as yourself with a personal brand online. So we will see you later.